Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the eFlexonics Show. My name is Rick Holland, your host, and I'm here to tell you why I've decided to do the crazy thing of creating an interactive digital magazine. I'll tell you all about it after the break. This is a really unique concept that I'm sure will help you gain market share and help you increase profits in your business. Be right back. Don't touch that dial or mouse, as they say. Talk to you in a minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Now, I don't know how many of you know what an interactive digital magazine is. There's not a lot of them out there. And for me, let me explain what my rendition of a digital magazine is. It is a fully online magazine that is never printed. You can print it if you want, but it's generally never printed. It's fully digital on the internet, highly mobile, easy to consume, very easy for your clients and you. But not only that, but it links audio-video podcasts together with audio-video interviews, together with how-to videos, with pictures, with diagrams. Oh, and there's another thing. In the magazine, say there's 20 pages of your magazine, and say there's 10 pages of pictures and 10 pages of articles. I have a narration booth right here, and I will take all of the articles and editorials and I will narrate them, turn them into an audio podcast. Now you have an audio magazine that can go with people anywhere they want. So you've given your consumers choice. They can read your magazine, they can dynamically interact with your magazine, and they can listen to your magazine in the car, while they're walking, while they're washing their car, while they're vacuuming, doing whatever. I listen to podcasts every single day, probably an hour and a half to 2 hours a day when I'm not working. It's a great way to educate myself, and it's a great way to plug in and find out what's happening in my community and what's happening in the tech world. Now, I call this tech media what I do. So let me give you a little bit of a background on my training and education and why I did the foolish things that I'm doing. It's kind of crazy, but it really, really works. Years ago, I graduated. I went to technical college, and I graduated with a B+ average, and the technical college taught electronics, telephony, and computer repair. So at the end of that year, I was a computer technologist. We could, break apart the boards and troubleshoot and do all this stuff, and also electronics as well. So one full year doing that, and I loved it. I fell in love with technology. I thought, this is where I need to be. So after college, I got a job with a company called EDS, Electronic Data something, I forget now. They were originally in Canada and the States, now they're just in the States. Ross Perot used to own them, the vice president of a while ago. And when we were working for EDS, we were farmed out to companies like IBM, HP, Toshiba, Microsoft, AST, all the heavyweights, all the big technical companies. And there I fell in love with the practical application of technology, but I also saw some weaknesses. I noticed that technology will either help you a lot or can slow you down and make you stumble because there's so much to learn. It's almost impossible to keep up with all the new technology out there. So I was with EDS for over 5 years. And then I went to work at one of the largest technically based call centers in North America. There, I was a second-level tech support because I had already been out in the field fixing printers and plotters and servers and all this kind of stuff and networks. So they made me part of the training and development side within a couple of weeks when I was there. And I was there for a few years, and I loved the training and development as well because I got to teach troubleshooting, and I got to teach the stuff that I was doing out in the field anyway. So it was a joy. And I took all of that and I combined it and I started blogging for business, and I really enjoyed blogging for business. And I did that for about, 5 or 6 years. And as time progressed, I noticed that there were inherent weaknesses in social media, in getting the message out, in how do you take your message, give it to your clients, and invite them to have a two-way conversation with you. When you have magazines, a printed magazine put in your hand, that is not a two-way conversation. That is a passive reading experience. I didn't want to build that. I wanted to build a dynamic, interactive magazine that builds community. So as I started to put, the funny thing, a couple of years ago, I would bring people into my studio and I would do these incredibly brilliant interviews, podcast interviews. A person would be sitting here and we'd talk about their business, and it was phenomenal. I loved the content, and they would explain, what got them into the business, how to get the best value from their goods, products, and services. That's what people really appreciate. When you start doing how-to videos, you add value to your product like crazy, like there's no tomorrow. So I started thinking, why can't I combine video, audio and video podcasts, interviews, how-tos, and even customer testimonials out in the field with pictures, diagrams, forums, contests, interactivity, with marketing to other places. I'm going to tell you what actually happened. I build these interviews for these business owners, and then I would check back with them in about a month, and they weren't on their website. And I thought, well, that's odd. I know they loved them, and they told a great story. And so I would contact them back, and it turned out that they didn't have the technical expertise to take that content and move it to the next level. So I was talking to my business coach, and she said, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. The majority of people out there are not technically savvy. So what you should do is you should create an infrastructure where you will handle all of it for them, where you just go in and say, let me do this for you, let me create the content, you're a part of the magazine, absolutely, and we'll bring you in. At that point, I didn't have the magazine component. I was just doing the audio video stuff and telling their story that way. So I thought, well, why don't we combine them? And it worked like crazy. I was involved in the printed magazine business for a short time. And I saw the strengths and I saw the weaknesses. An interactive digital magazine would be more valuable than a printed magazine. And I'll tell you why. So these videos would not get used the way I intended them. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, what's going on? So I finally figured out, or I finally was told that they just didn't know what to do with them. Loved the product, had a market for the product, had a potential for the product, but didn't have the technical expertise. So I thought, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I have a WordPress site called Tell Your Story, Grow Your Business. On that WordPress site, when you become a business partner with us, we don't have clients, we have business partners. When you become a business partner with us, I create a separate page on Tell Your Story, Grow Your Business with your company name on there. We host your digital magazine on that page, including the videos, the interviews, the pictures, the diagrams, the forums, the contests, the whole thing on that dedicated page. You know what this does? It gives you freedom. If you are a business owner and you've paid someone between $5,000 and $10,000 to create a website, and then every time you want to change something, they're going to charge you for it, it just drove me crazy. So I thought, why not give my customers that want to work with me freedom? So I'm going to dedicate a page to your business. Now, I can only take a limited amount of clients. Otherwise, I won't be able to service them correctly. So we've got tellyourstorygrowyourbusiness.com, and that's where your page would sit. That's the page that you send to everyone, because that way I can do it all for you. I can create a digital magazine. I can do your audio, video podcasts. I can put them up on Spreaker. I can put them up on YouTube. I can do that for you, and you don't have to lift the finger. It's really convenient because we're building community at the same time as we're building an interactive digital magazine. Not only that, but we invite complementary businesses that are involved with you. You know 5 or 10 complementary businesses that don't sell the same thing you do, but sell other stuff that can be used along with your product. We invite those people to help you build your digital magazine. You see, business never likes to be built in a vacuum, unless you're Dyson Vacuum Company. They like community, they like to build, they like to network, they like to share, they like to share their victories, their defeats, their stories. They like support. They want support. business owners and clients are looking for support. There's where the value of your interactive digital magazine comes in. Suppose you have just done an article on how to use your goods, products, and services to avoid returns because you found out that your clients are using your goods, products, and services not the way it was intended, and it's driving up the return rate. We can come along and make a phenomenal series of how-to videos to show exactly how to get better value out of your goods, products, and services. So what does that do? It drives the return rate way down, increases profit, and builds community, but more importantly is that you're talking to your customers. You're having a two-way communication with your customer. It is not enough nowadays to hand them a piece of paper or a magazine and say, my job is done. You cannot do that. This day and age, in the information age, you can't just hand somebody and expect them to use it properly. You have to make it dynamic, interesting, fun, enjoyable. You have to hit all the high points. Now, in your digital magazine, the main focus is finding your customer's pain point and giving them answers and solutions inside your digital magazine. It's a great way to do business. Because if one of your customers is standing in your competitor's store and they remember, oh yeah, I remember on my smartphone I've got a video about him and I'll play it right now. Even while they're in your competition store, they can watch your video and they can say, wow, that was really helpful. Guess where they're going to go? You. Anytime you create content that gives added value to your customers, that helps your customers, that helps them with their pain point, you have a customer for life. They'll be loyal. They'll be happy to pay you. They'll be happy to network for you. And they'll be happy to tell other people about you. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because I just did a hot rod show for Tom the Tire Guy in Surrey. What a great show. It was Mother's Day. He must have had between 250 and 300 cars there. So I took 4 hours and I took 500 pictures and about, 45 minutes of video. I interviewed the owners of the cars. We have enough content for 2 or 3 months of a magazine. That's the beauty. If you have a special event, if you're going to have an open house, a customer appreciation day, a barbecue, whatever it is, we can come to your location with our remote broadcast equipment. We can record the whole thing and then get enough content for you, for your marketing team, and I to sit down and build you a brilliant magazine that can come out either every month, every quarter, every 6 months, however you want to handle it. But it is a magazine that, again, it's highly mobile, it's very, very enjoyable, and it's very light. Most of our magazines take under, 20, 25 seconds to download. Now, the audio magazine takes a little bit more because there's more information in it. On the interactive digital magazine, it's just PDF pages and links. But on our audio magazine, it is voice files or MP3s, which can take more room. So it's going to take slightly longer to download our audio portion of the magazine than it is to download the magazine itself. We can build you a magazine that you will just look at it and say, wow, this is gorgeous. This is what I want to, this is my story. So folks, thank you so much. Every week I'm going to be doing a video explaining how to use technology in a different way in a certain aspect. Now, there are two main websites that we use, that we own. One is called eFlexonics, and I'll spell that for you, EFLEXONICS.com. This is the page that I've designed for support, really, for our vendors and our affiliates and our friends that come and take a look at our website just to see what we do, examples of our work. And it's also a support page for small businesses where I'm going to be putting that weekly podcast show on that site. It'll say Podcast for Business Owners. Now, where we host your magazine is the website www.tellyourstorygrowyourbusiness.com. At that site, we take a page and dedicate it to your business. So say, for example, your Stu's Barbecue Parts, we put a page there called Stu's Barbecue Parts and put your digital magazine there and put your videos there and put all your social media content there. Well, you can have it on your website as well, but why not have it duplicate places? So now you can send this digital magazine to your entire email database. You have to follow the spam laws for Canada, and they're quite severe. So we'll also be giving training on when you email people, you have to have an opt-in. Sometimes a very, very good idea. I think it's legal now that you have to have a double opt-in, that if people don't want to receive your emails, they just click and you have to take them off the list. The penalties are pretty high if you don't if you don't use those rules or abide by those rules. So watch that. But we'll help you with that process as well. So we will design a beautiful product for you. You send it out to your email database and get those people to send it to their friends. The digital world is coming at us fast and furious, and we have to learn how to use it to our advantage. So, folks, I hope this has given you a little bit of insight of why I did the crazy things that I did. And get this. I'm going to tell you how I'm doing this. I'm going to give you all my tips and tricks, most of them for free on eflexonics.com. Why? Well, most people will look at what I do and say, oh, yeah, Rick, it's way too much work. I'll just pay you to do it. Phenomenal. We love customers like that. But we also love customers that are the DIY, the do-it-yourselfers. I'll show you how I do this. You can do it yourself. If you need to hire us to do the narration part or do content creation or do videos or do ads or whatever, we can do that too. So our company can slip into many, many different roles and ways to help you tell your story and grow your business. So look forward to every week this show talking about technology. This week was the beginning show talking about why I do the things I do and why I love them so much. And if you want a media kit, just email me at eflexonics.com, eflexonics@gmail.com, or tell your story, grow your business at gmail.com. And I'll respond to you and I'll help you any way I can. All right? This is Rick Holland for eFlexonics. We'll see you next week, folks. Thanks for stopping in. You've been a great audience. See you again. Bye-bye. Take care.